So obviously we all know about zombies. We've all seen the films from Dawn of the Dead to The Walking Dead.
28 days later.
28 days later. This is some of the things I was going to cover. I think the first zombie film, as everyone sort of, in cinema-wise, was probably White Zombie, which I think was in the 1930s. But the dude who's obviously sort of popularised and codified zombies in popular culture is obviously George A. Romero. He's a film director.
He knows who George A. Romero is.
Who obviously made Night of the Living Dead. And then, you come up with all the lore, basically, which is you shoot them in the head to kill them. They usually hunt as a pack, and they're just almost mindless and ravenous for human flesh.
It is interesting how you can go back and watch Night of the Living Dead and how it sort of still holds up.
Yeah.
Like to the original, like, or to modern zombie films, with how the rules, the zombie rules still apply. I mean, there's a couple that kind of got axed later on, like zombies being afraid of fire. Like the zombies are kind of afraid of fire in that, but
they've definitely been changed and updated. But I guess my question is, what is this obsession with zombies? Why are people so obsessed with zombies, and why do they persist?
There's a really good introduction by Simon. Is introduction in Simon Pegg for The Walking Dead trade paperback, where he's like, why are people obsessed with it? And it's because zombies represent like that unavoidable like death, like everyone's marching towards it and you can't escape it, and that's why it's such like a universally acknowledged and kind of accepted characters, because that's what it represents. I think ironically it has been done to death, because like what else can you do? Like,
nice choice of words.
Yeah.
It's been done to death and then brought back to life again.
Yeah, I mean The Walking Dead comic side, I think it was 2001.
Yeah.
And since then it's just been non-stop, and I am fed up with it. The thing that separates The Walking Dead is because it's not about the zombies, it's about the human stories evolved around that. So that you could take out the zombies.
Literally from the title of the show, if you've read the comics, I don't know whether it's come up in the show, but The Walking Dead is not referring to the zombies.
It's the actual humans themselves. So it's like you could replace the zombies with any kind of like breakdown of society, and that all of those stories would effectively stay the same. But I think in terms of like popular culture, like the Call of Duty games and all this kind of stuff, like zombie mode, and even like Plants vs Zombies and all this kind of stuff, it's just like,
I've got to agree, the market is like highly saturated with zombies.
To use that Alistarism.
But at the same time, the market is also highly saturated with superhero films. I'd say the same.
Yeah, but the characters of superheroes differ, don't they, greatly to a zombie is
but
a zombie.
I find the cool thing is, personally,
Marvel zombies.
Marvel zombies.
It's infected everything.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Is it just going to keep gravitating back to superheroes? Well,
also,
zombies?
I just made a zombie pun, and zombie pun. I just said it's infected everything, which is I didn't even mean to.
Yeah,
it's been done to death, and it's infected everything.
But,
we're on fire.
Yeah. So why? So there must be a reason for it being so persistent, and I kind of have my own theories on this as well. I just wanted to hear what everyone else's was. So like, yours was more sort of.
Like, the reason that, as I say, like the reason those stories exist is because of that, because that theme is ever present and it's not going to change. It's just the way it's presented, and it currently for the last 40 years has been as zombies.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
I think there's also a sense of inner breakdown of society, and this exists in all post-apocalyptic fiction, so I guess we'll come back to the zombie thing, but I would say the appeal of post-apocalyptic stuff, and particularly zombies, is it's a return to a much simpler time where morals are based upon the will of the group, the small group that you're with. There is a fight for food, and there's an immediacy to everything. Modern life has become very easy and palpably sort of cushy. You know, we have our fun little lives where we live in this sort of bubble. I mean, there's things we obviously have to contend with every day, you know, the threat of war or illness, or, you know, that there are things that we deal with, but none of them are on an immediate, terrifying, visceral scale as something like a zombie apocalypse or any kind of post-apocalypse. Like if you want to watch like the best post-apocalypse sort of settings, like The Road, or I would argue stuff like A Boy and His Dog. You know, it's things that sort of have an element of bleakness, like complete and utter bleakness, but within that there is a chance for the ordinary man to become a hero. And I think that's why zombie fiction works, because zombies are just a vessel to project heroics onto. They are a enemy to destroy.
Yes.
I can become the hero. I can pick up a baseball bat with nails in it and destroy something.
Yes. Don't stop
Whereas
me
I can't, you know, I can't make myself into Conan. But I could.
I believe in you are.
Yeah, maybe. But I could pick up a lawn edger and take off a zombie's head. You know, it is the appeal of turning Joe everybody into something elevated.
Definitely. I think as well, I think it really promotes, you know, coming back to Jurassic Park then, dinosaurs, massive dinosaur coming towards you, you're never going to be able to get away from it. Let's be honest, we're humans, we're tiny compared to them, they're going to eat us, we're going to die.
It's a defeatable enemy.
Yeah, it's like zombies, they walk slow, they're dumb, you know.
Depends which type of zombie.
Okay, fine. Sorry, I don't want to tar all the, you
also,
know.
you did say 28 days later earlier, and 28 days later, they're not zombies, they're infected people.
Okay, but basically it does, like what you were just saying, Alistair, I think it definitely gives you that sense of, you know, people still say it, zombie apocalypse, what weapon are you going to use?
Yeah, it's
what
exciting.
Are you going to grab?
It's an immediate hero situation.
It's this idea of like, we presume if there is a zombie apocalypse, you don't go, oh no, we're all going to die. We go, I'd barricade the doors, I'd do this, I'd do that, I'd use this as a weapon, I'd use this as a weapon.
I love that like if there was a zombie, that just wouldn't happen. We'd all just be crying.
Oh, God,
I'd be the first person to be bitten.
All the tin soup is gone. Yeah. It would be awful.
There's no Facebook.
But that is how we think. I mean, did anybody see Dead Set?
Yes.
The Big Brother zombies.
amazing.
Yeah,
I absolutely loved that.
Utterly brilliant.
I thought that was so good. And it was funny because it was a piss
Who
take
cut the
on...
lawns?
I love the fact it was a piss take on Big Brother with the side of this zombie. I thought that was absolutely brilliant. I loved all of those episodes, and yet there is still this way, you know, in the end, I'm sure everyone's seen Dead Set, it's not really a spoiler, but everybody dies in it. Everybody dies and everyone becomes zombies in it, and there is no happy ending.
Yeah.
But yet, there is still this
Charlie
idea
Brooker,
of...
incidentally, the creator of that show, was really pissed off when everyone really liked it, and he was like, shit, I could definitely have done like a second season of that if I hadn't killed everyone.
Was there only like 5 episodes, wasn't there?
But it's like,
sure.
it really sticks to its guns, and it's really good.
A good show.
But... yeah, look, can someone like flag up a spoiler warning there? Because I feel like people shouldn't have that spoiled, but even though it is really old, although spoiler warnings...
That's what I'm saying.
Maybe they should come with a spoiler
date.
Yeah, spoiler warning should come with like an expiry date, like 5 years. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
but
he's a ghost. It's his father. You know, she's a bloke.
They're all dead.
My personal fascination with like the zombie genre is that it changes with the times, and I totally agree. Zombies used to be terrifying. When Night of the Living Dead come out, people were like, this is horrible, you need to get out of the cinemas, it's disturbing, it's disgusting.
Making people throw up in the aisles.
But now it's so oversaturated, people know they can defeat zombies. Although I would say,
we don't know.
What's scary about zombies is that it doesn't matter how slow they are, they're always going to be able to get you, because you'll get tired, you'll run out of food, you'll get hungry, you'll get weak, and the zombies will be at your door.
Have you read World War Z?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's... Oh, no, you need to read it.
Well, that's the
I knew I was gonna
difficulty.
get
The
hit.
film is not a bad film.
Yeah, there are good parts of it, but...
it is not an adaptation of World
Another
War Z
film ruined
at
with
all.
CGI as well, I just put out there.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
But like the idea of I think it's with the submarine, like how because zombies are dead anyway, so they're just at the bottoms of the ocean.
Oh god, yeah, and they're at the bottom of the ocean. They realise
Yeah.
they can't get up because there's so many zombies on top of the submarine.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like that kind of
crazy.
idea. That's why I love that book, because it made you think about it from a completely
really
different
good.
way.
It's really, really good for that.
Search it out. If you have seen the film, then that's whet your appetite for something that is a lot better.
Yes.
What is it? The battle that happens in that book.
The Battle of Hope.
Yonkers.
Yonkers,
yeah.
Yonkers.
Yeah.
I remember that because that's a Tyler the Creator song. But like that battle scene
Is it New Hope?
It's just
as well,
such a
isn't
shame
it?
that it didn't.
There's another one where they play the
the
Iron
final-
Maiden and stuff to try and like
that's
draw
like
them
the
out and
final
stuff.
battle. Yeah, where they all have the sort of the thing that kind of looks like a lawn edger. That's like a. specifically like they designed it specifically like that it's good for that, and then it's like taking the head off.
Lopo?
Yeah.
Lobo?
It's written in this sort of clinical, historical way, which is really good. And there's some amazing story. I think my favourite story's got to be the one. It's an Indian story where they get up into like a pass up in the mountains, and it's about them blowing this bridge.
Yeah.
That one's brilliant. But yeah, excellent book. Yeah. But it is.
But that presents the kind of that. I think that came at a time like kind of the peak of the zombie culture in the mainstream. But it took it from like a kind of, okay, now if this were going to happen, what would actually, and it explains it so well, and that makes it scary when they're
there's actually a scene in that book where there's like, when the TVs are still running, there's like teenagers on the streets with like baseball bats with knives on them and stuff, and them like trying to thinking they're really cool and getting followed by reporters, and then just getting overrun. Yeah, like actually no, wait, this doesn't work.
Yeah, but that's what I really like, is because they have. My personal thing with zombies is they've become so oversaturated. They've become like cannon fodder, and they shouldn't be. And I really like how, I'm not finished watching all of Walking Dead, but from what I have watched, number one, it's returned it back to the human element. There's another thing that people forget with George A. Romero's first few zombie films, is it was always about the humans. The zombies were just there, and it all takes place in a house, and everything.
It's a bottle episode, isn't it? It's just like you have to cram the characters together.
Yeah, and I'm glad stuff like Walking Dead brings it back to the characters, because it doesn't matter if the zombies are hard or easy to kill. The real test is humans trying to survive against other humans. Really, it's always the biggest threat.
That's it as well. When the Kirkman first presented that idea to Image, they read that first couple of episodes, and it doesn't really have many zombie attacks or anything on it, and they were like, "Oh, this is really good," but when like, what's it actually about? And so he sold it as like an alien invasion.
Yeah,
and he sold it to Image saying, "Oh yeah, the zombies are like alien sleeper agents," and then eventually the aliens come down and oh, that's awesome. And then they said like about 10, 20 issues in, obviously it's just prolonging this human story, and like the executive were like, "So when are these aliens going to come in?" Just like, "Oh yeah, it's nothing to do with aliens."
Kind of like a body snatchers type thing.
Yeah, but he just like, because at that time zombies weren't relevant, he had to like sell that idea again.
When was
the comic? 2001, wasn't it?
Was it one?
I think.
So would that make it around the same time? I would say that would make it around the same time as the sort of Renaissance began. I would say zombie Renaissance, because there's some
weeks later began that.
Days.
So 28 days.
Well, 28 days later in Shaun of the Dead, I would argue, and the Dawn of the Dead remake, which actually gets a lot of stick, but it's really
at the start
good.
Of, the noughties as well at the start.
Yeah. But I think 28 days later, the Walking Dead comic, Shaun of the Dead, and Dawn of the Dead remake, Shaun of the Dead, 28 days later, in the Walking Dead comic. It's because I was really difficult saying all those because they all have dead in them, and I was like, have I said any of those already? They kind of started off this renaissance, which has created some like real gems, like Wreck, which is brilliant, and some utter shite, like just sort of throw away straight to DVD nonsense, which there was stuff like
really
that before.
Annoys me, because they're so easy. They're so much of it. Even George Romero himself's kind
even
of gone
Alistair
down that
Brown has made a zombie film essentially.
That's true. My first film I made at uni was a zombie film as well. So
because it's easy and it tests a lot of things, you can get a lot of makeup artists involved with that. It's easy enough to use humans as your enemies.
It's easy to do, but it's hard to do well. And another thing that I find fascinating in good zombie films, what George Romero again used to do, is all the social stuff that was attached to it, and I found it absolutely fascinating. Like, I could watch The Dawn of the Dead, and it's like the protagonist is a black guy and is kind of leading the charge, and I think this it's okay if I spoil this because it's like a 40-year-old film, but by the end of the film he gets through all the mindless zombies, survives the night only to be mindlessly shot. And I thought such a massive comment about society at that time, about equal rights
at the time.
It's
that is a film that has remained relevant.
It's the most frightening thing in a zombie film that does it well, is how it reflects society. I think in the modern day zombie films, what's kind of helped the renaissance, as you call it, I think, is what's relevant. Well, we've come off like a recession, and the technology is sort of progressing at like a ridiculously fast rate. I think the PBS channel on YouTube, they made like a good he had like said something really cool about sort of technology. Sort of it continues, but it's disinterested in you. It doesn't matter what you think. It's going to continue. And
Skynet.
Yeah, it's the same sort of thing. It's the same as body snatchers, zombies, or robots. It's a society that's.
That's when the other week we were talking about DayZ and all those kind of games.
Yeah.
That's what makes that game so brilliant. Like, no one cares about the zombies in that game. What gives it the adrenaline rush is when you run into another human player.
Yeah, I mean, I was just about to say Call of Duty zombies and stuff like that. People went nuts for it, and I think bringing it back to my topic from last week is as well. There's a lot of teamwork, especially with zombies and things like that. You get into a building and you're all right. Well, who's going to go out for food? Well, you're going to make this run. Well, I'll get you back. I'll watch you for that. Come help me board up this window. And it's like, it promotes that teamwork effort. You all work as a team because you don't have a choice.
Yeah.
You are against them. You have to stay as a team.
And State of Decay is really good as well. Have you played that?
I haven't, but I have heard good things.
Because that's like you a group of people, and then like if you go out as a character and that character get killed, like it demoralises your camp, and that means like you have to do certain things like get morale back up.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. It's like I keep saying, like it's the human element that makes it interesting.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Have you noticed that all the popular stuff that we mention, it's always about the human element?
Yeah,
Really,
that's why like the Call of
humans,
Duty side of things, where you're saying it's just cannon fodder. That's when it's just boring and it's just like
but
what.
Ironically, though, I love playing Zombie Army Trilogy at the moment, which is just a cannon fodder game, but it's all about teamwork and that, which is quite fun. It's actually that's very, very suspenseful actually. When you like shit, I've got like 5 bullets left, and there's like a massive zombie walking towards me.
I remember
but
that's
the story is not. It's not a story-driven game. It's not like a zombie story. It's not.
I remember that's what I really wanted Dead Rising to be, is to be like suspenseful and stuff. But eventually, it just gets silly. You're wearing a silly hat and you're pushing a lawnmower through them. The only time a lawnmower should ever be used on zombies
is like it's inherently bad. I mean, it's just that's the fun side. But it just makes me feel bad that
I think there is something. It detracts from the mythos of them. What makes them scary? That there's an oversaturation, as we've said. And there's very few games or films, indeed, that capture that sense of bleakness, but also heroism that I think really sort of exemplifies what zombies became.
I think like what you said about being able to project zombies is something we can project something onto. I think that's absolutely spot on. I think it's absolutely spot on as well about it's giving the average Joe. Shaun of the Dead's a perfect example. You make the average Joe like the hero, and I think that's what's really good. And I think when you mix that with the really, really good story, human element, and then you've got those social themes that are underlying everything, like the consumerism in Dawn of the Dead, racism in Night of the Living Dead. That's a really good mixture for a very solid zombie film. And I think it is a bit sad that they're so more popular than ever, but it's at the expense of that mythos, other than Walking Dead, which is becoming like the exception, which is a bit sad.
Yeah,
I think it's
It's funny that something like The Walking Dead can exist so well within that mythos, and then everything around it still maintains that zombies are these silly things that just get pushed over and stuff.
Yeah, but at least it's evidence that it can still be done right. I'm interested to watch Arnold Schwarzenegger's new film.
Maggie.
From the reviews, it's been getting mixed reviews, but I want to see it myself. Same reasons what you say in previous podcasts, so I can make a judgment myself. But I love why they're going with that. It looks like it is all about the little girl, and I'm really interested to see how that plays out. And also, I'd love to make a special note as well of other films where the role was reversed and they missed a massive beat with this, and that was like I Am Legend, because in the original book, I don't think, again, it's been like 30 odd years, spoiler, he's the bad guy, society's moved, the world's moved on.
He's not Robert Neville's not really
It's not bad,
guy.
but from their perspective, he's a monster. He's like the scariest thing there. I think were they in the book, I think they draw scary pictures of him. Because I think
it's a bit weird, because at the end of the book, it is a very old book, so we can't really spoil that one. But like at the end of the book, he's captured by these hordes. In the book, they're essentially vampires.
Yeah.
But they exist in a sort of their own society. I've kind of seen it as like, it feels kind of like, you ever see that film Daybreakers?
Oh yes,
like I Am Legend feels like a prequel to that, where they're setting up a vampire society, and Robert Neville's like the last human
going crazy.
But there is kind of this mythos about him by the end, amongst the vampires, that he was this one sort of thing that was keeping them.
So they are vampires,
scared.
But it's a similar sort of thing. They're kind of like they've. But it's interesting to look at that. Like society's changed, but he was old-fashioned.
Yeah.
Which is quite interesting. Cool. I think to sum up, then, I think the reason zombies are so popular is because you can have all the silly fun, but there's still shows out there as well, like we said, Walking Dead, which prove they can still be sort of a compelling force.
And films,
definitely.
Films, comics,
and games.
Yeah. I mean, I love them. I've written like 2 essays on zombies and stuff. I'm just a massive.
Do you have a favourite zombie film? If we can sum up with favourite zombie film.
Favourite zombie films, that is absolutely easy for me, and that is what I would say was the original Night of the Living Dead. Because it had everything,
classic.
Human element and the social underpinnings.
Do you have a favourite zombie film?
Mine would be Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead is brilliant, to be fair.
It is incredible. I love the element, comedy, everything. It's brilliant.
Yeah, Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead. Wow, 2 votes for Shaun of the Dead. I love Shaun of the Dead, and I really love Wreck, and there's so many zombie films I could list off. I really love Return of the Living Dead, despite the fact it invented the whole brains thing, which actually a lot of zombie purists kind of see as like a sort of cultural whitewashing of zombies, because zombies were this terrifying thing until Return of the Living Dead got them speaking and saying brains and eating brains instead of flesh. Brains, that was from Return of the Living Dead, but it's still a really good film. But I would say Day of the Dead as the third in the zombie trilogy. I would say
you're probably in the minority of people who would say that.
I think Day of the Dead is the most effective zombie film out of all of them. I think Night of the Living Dead is a classic horror film, and it set up tropes that would be forever relevant, and also like the racial tensions in it have continued to be like sort of arresting. You watch that film now and still shocking. As you said, the ending is still like, you don't see that coming, and it's really horrible, and you're like, shit. The second one is really interesting, sort of comment on consumerism. And the third one is just a damn horrible zombie film, like grotty. There's gore in that film that I have not seen in anything else, and I've seen a lot of films, and that film is just, man, you describe bits in that where the guy gets his head pulled off and his vocal cords stretched so his voice goes high, and you're like, it's
good Sunday movie.
Horrible. Good Sunday movie, and Bub in it, and Rhodes, the sort of army colonel, is like, choke on him, and he's getting pulled in half. It's great, really good.